Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new poll shows that Arizonans strongly support clean elections. Also tonight, we'll hear about changes in tax law as April 15th approaches, and we'll see how sports is being used to teach literature. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A new poll commissioned by the Arizona Advocacy Network shows that a majority of Arizonans support the clean election system of public campaign financing. The poll also touched on other topics such as gifts to state lawmakers and conflicts of interest. Joining us now is pollster Bruce Merrill, who conducted this particular survey. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ted.
What did the poll look at? What did the poll find?
Well, it's a good statewide sample, and basically looking at the whole idea of clean elections. Should we keep it? Is it valuable? And you know, the poll just overwhelmingly showed a lot of support for clean elections, and we shouldn't be terribly surprised. We get beat up in Arizona a lot. But you know, the way we have approached elections and with clean elections was on the forefront in the United States, really, of trying to clean up elections. So we have a history in Arizona of supporting electoral reform.
So we got 76% of likely voters favor clean elections, 47 in favor, 26 strongly in favor. I thought this was interesting. 53% would oppose a candidate who wants to get rid of clean. Really?
Yes, and only 11% would support them. Now part of that is, you know, when you just say clean elections, who doesn't want clean elections? I mean, we all want clean elections. But I think the people, not only in Arizona, but around the country, are just so frustrated by big money, dark money, perceived corruption in the electoral system, that I think that's one reason it is so important that this poll found so much support for clean elections in Arizona.
And yet, 53% would oppose candidates that would want to repeal clean elections. We've got lawmakers doing just that just now.
They are, and my understanding is there's a pretty good chance that's going to get through the legislature. I just did the poll for this foundation, but I think they're considering an initiative to kind of strengthen clean elections in Arizona. So eventually this could go to a vote of the people.
Before we get too much further into the poll, because there are a few other rubrics here I want to touch on, but just in general, we've talked a lot in a variety of forums here regarding what seems to be a disconnect between the average voter, the people you call, the folks that you talk to, and those who vote in elections and those who put people into the legislature. Why is it that 53% say they would oppose these lawmakers? Every single lawmaker that's going to go against clean elections in this session will likely win re-election. What's going on?
Well, Ted, we've talked about this in the past. Part of it's just the way, by the primary system that we elect the legislature. There's so little competition in the primaries that by the time the primary is over, there's very few districts that haven't been determined who's going to be the representative in that district. Now, why that's important is that the turnout in the last election was somewhere around 20%. Who goes to the polls when you have low turnout? You have the people that feel strongly, particularly ideologues of the right and the left, that go to the polls. So what happens in a place like Arizona, and we're not the only place, is the average voter, the more moderate average voter, really has no representation. Now, one could make a question or ask the question, whose fault is that if they don't vote?
Exactly. What gets those people out to vote?
You hate to say it, but it's usually a crisis or things have to get so bad that they finally go to the polls. Maybe clean elections is something that could motivate that a little bit.
I don't want to get too off topic here.
Sure, no.
Did I see something in Oregon where now it's you basically you don't have to you're signed up the minute you get to voting age, you have a driver's license?
Sure. And in most of the states, there's pressure towards that. There's a lot of pressure towards either voting completely by mail or by the internet. Those things are going to happen eventually. You know, clean elections I really think is terribly important in Arizona in this election that's coming up, because I think there's going to be a lot of other states that are going to look at us, and this has happened before with tobacco and some other things. They're going to be looking to Arizona to see what we do here. So I think it's important to get the message out to the average voter. When the poll shows just overwhelming support for clean elections, these people have to get out to the polls.
Poll also showed support for banning gifts to elected officials and a ban on lawmakers voting on bills that financially benefit them. No surprises there.
Absolutely not, Ted. I think that's really the problem right now, is people are so alienated from politics. They're tired of politics. They really want politics cleaned up.
And you got in the session right now, you got home builders voting on home building issues. You've got school officials voting on school issues. And the voters say we don't like this, but the voters keep sending those people back.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Proof of citizenship for campaign donors. Why was that question even asked?
I really don't know. We'll have to ask Sam next time.
All right. So that was through the Advocacy Network as opposed to what you did.
But it did come out pretty strongly in favor of the clean election position on that.
And private donors should meet the same standards as clean election donors.
Sure. Yeah, clean elections is a great thing. It's just simply an attempt to try to get the big money and the special interest money out of elections. The problem, Ted, is over the last several years in Arizona, we're not giving the clean election people, particularly at the statewide office level, we don't give them enough money to compete. So it's really actually helping the way it's structured right now, special interest incumbents that have all kinds of money that they can put into an election. So if we're going to keep clean elections, we've got to clean it up. We've got to make it more, it's got to be where the people running clean have enough money to compete with the people that are not running.
The poll overall, anything surprise you?
You know, not really. People in Arizona still don't believe that voting should be only by mail. A lot of us like to go to the polls on Election Day. And the other thing, and I think sometime you need to have a program on it, unions particularly don't come out well in Arizona. We've been a right-to-work state. And yet unions are really crucial, and somehow the message needs to get to union leadership that they've got to tell people what unions are all about and how helpful they can be. But right now in Arizona, unions are not very well thought of.
Interesting stuff. Bruce, always a pleasure.
Always
Good to have
a pleasure.
You here. Tax filing season, which means it's time to check with the IRS and the State Department of Revenue to see about changes to tax laws and filing procedures. And here with the latest information is IRS Arizona spokesman Bill Brunson and Anthony Forcino of the Arizona Department of Revenue. Good to see you both back here as we do about every time this year. It just seems like it always happens, Bill, and we can't avoid it.
It's good. It's good, Ted. It's always a pleasure to come back and talk a little tax.
Okay, it's good. Tax filing tips.
Yes.
What you got?
Well, pretty much the same as it was last year due to the Extender Act in December carrying everything forward. But people do have the Affordable Care Act this year. And if any time would be the best time to file electronically would be this year due to the complexities that may pose themselves on a person's return with the Affordable Care Act. So about 83% of all Arizonans are going to electronically file. You should be one of them.
83%. Now that number
83%.
keeps going up?
It keeps going up. It keeps going up. Now, nationwide, it's about 85%. And your electronically filed tax return is fast, it's accurate, it's secure, it's truly the way to go, and saves the federal government money, which in turn saves your tax dollars. And you can file electronically online at irs.gov by clicking on that free file icon. And I don't know if you guys at the state have the same thing, Anthony, but I think you do.
Give me some tax tips from state
We
level.
do. Pretty much the same. E-filing is the best because of the fact that our processing, it processes the tax return quicker, and especially if you're getting a refund, you're going to get it quicker because it's going to process a lot quicker.
Are you seeing the same kind of increases at the state level that we're seeing federally as far as
E-file, yes.
e-filing?
Yes.
Yes.
We're about 80%, probably will this year.
Are there
for us.
changes in state forms this year? Did I read something about
There's changes in the state form in the sense of the way we put it together. In the past, it has been all crammed onto the front page, and we've gotten to the font of a 0.4. So we've kind of cleaned it up and actually made it flow better, where as you go, you don't have to go to the second page and bring things forward. So we've made it a little bit cleaner to file.
On the federal level, any of those kinds of changes we need to know about?
No, not really, Ted. But people do need to know that there are a couple of tax scams out there. And one is where the individual receives a phone call unsolicited, and the caller says that they work for the Internal Revenue Service, that you owe tax, that you need to pay that tax today, and you need to pay it with a wire transfer or direct debit. And if you don't, then they're going to send out the police department. And folks need to know that if they do owe tax, they're going to get a bill in the mail first, and that the Internal Revenue Service is not going to threaten you, and that you have rights as a taxpayer where you can contest the amount owed. So if you get one of these phone calls, hang up on them, don't engage, and then let the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration know about it. They're tracking this system, this item.
So again, if you get a phone call from the IRS, I mean, unless I have a relationship with the IRS that goes above filing my return, should I just never expect a phone call?
Basically, that's correct. An individual will know if they have an ongoing situation, and they may receive a call from a revenue agent or some sort of tax collector or revenue officer. So if that's not the case, this call out of the blue, that should be send up all flags and bells, and you should not go there. Just hang up, don't engage.
Scams, fraud, what are we seeing at the state level?
We're seeing a lot of fraud just like we have every year, and it just continues to grow. I mean, last year we caught $73 million just in Arizona returns. The big thing outside of what the federal is for the Arizona purposes is we're finding a lot of people are creating tax returns for people who are from other states and filing here in Arizona or all over the country, filing tax returns for that person. And that person will never know. If we stole your identity and filed in New York, you would never know we filed there.
Well, so what does someone do if someone files a phony tax return with your name and your social security number? What do you do?
You really can't do much because you may not know about it. We, at least at the department, is working with all the states with a lot of the IRS data, and we're putting our criteria in and catching them and stopping them before they get out the door.
Is there something you can do?
Tax-related ID theft on the IRS side, we have a special unit where you can deal directly with those folks, and if need be, we'll give you a special number that you can use to file, and that kind of truncates that ability for the crooks to use your social security number to get by the system. So there are procedures in place, and we've been working this where it takes about 4 months to find out who the actual taxpayer is. But unfortunately, you, the taxpayer, may find out that there's been identity theft by getting that letter in the mail from the IRS asking you why you're submitting a second return.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, customer service. Let's talk about that real quickly here. The website, is that kind of the one-stop shopping?
That's where we're telling folks to go because you can get pretty much everything that you need from irs.gov 24/7. If you want to check on a refund, if you want to make a payment, if you want a tax question answered. The phone lines are a little harder to get through this year, and we do have waiting lines in front of our offices.
Wow.
So, but there is a bright side to the office issue where we are now testing appointments in some areas, not here in Arizona, but other areas, and it's worked rather well where a person can call ahead, set up a special time, and show up and get their issue resolved.
I know we had a viewer a viewer actually complained about the State Department of Revenue and how they call up and they're told everyone's busy, try again sometime. And that's it, that there's nothing else left.
And that's what we're getting. Again, the fact that there's so many phone calls and there's not enough people to answer them. We are working on a new system, a new phone system, which may, hopefully, and it may not happen for this tax year, but it would at least allow somebody to leave a message and we'll get back with them. So that helps instead of just hanging up on them.
So for this particular viewer, what do they, is there a website? What do they
We
do?
can go to our website and we have as much information, and we're continuing to build our website more and more as we go to try to get that.
One more state question, a Form 301.
Form 301 is the tax credits. In the past, you could put certain tax credits on the front of your tax return. This year, we're saying that you need to file the 301, which is all of the tax credits, and then you just bring the number forward. We are looking at those this year to make sure that people who are filing for tax credits are actually taking the proper tax credits.
And that's a difference from last year?
Yes.
Any other differences that we need to know about?
Not major differences except for the change in the way the form looks.
Okay. As far as the website and stuff, does this mean, it used to be you go to the library, you get all sorts of IRS and tax kind of information there. Is that starting to wane a little bit with?
Well, that's always been a program where the particular librarian or the post office manager has wanted that sort of issue for those items for their clients. But folks can always go to irs.gov and get that last minute form or request an extension to file online at no charge. There's a whole host of different things that they can do online through irs.gov.
And as far as refund, I was surprised to learn a lot of folks don't collect their refunds. What's that all about?
2011, individuals that haven't filed need to, because if they don't by April 15th of this year, the statutory period runs out, and then they won't have the ability to file and claim that refund. So if you haven't filed for 2011, you need to submit the paperwork, and you can get the 2011 forms and information from the Internal Revenue Service at no charge. And that would be the information returns to the 1099s, the W-2s. So 2011, you haven't filed, you still have time, but you can't wait. You got to get working on it.
And conversely, on the state level, you owe money, you can't pay it. You just can't. What do you do?
We have a great actually collections unit that actually you can call. You can get in, you can get on a payment program, you can get on, and we're really helpful as to looking at hard case, what it needs, what you can afford. We don't want you to not pay, and we don't want you to be hurt trying to pay. So.
All right. Well, great information as always. We'll see how it works out, and we'll probably see you sometime before next year, I guess.
Well, Ted, thanks for having us on. 21 days for a refund for the IRS. How many days for you guys, Anthony?
It's about 2 weeks.
Wow.
All right. Wow is right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ted.
Thank you.
Just off I-10 in the town of Quartzsite stands a pyramid gravestone to a curious name still celebrated in these parts, Hi Jolly. Hi Jolly was actually Haji Ali, a Greek-Syrian immigrant who came to the United States in 1856. He worked for the Army as the caretaker of a herd of animals being used in an experiment aimed at establishing a new way to transport goods across the southwestern deserts, by camel. The Civil War ended the Army's fascination with the camels, and they were turned loose in the desert. Hi Jolly remained a faithful Army scout for some 30 years and died in Quartzsite in 1902. Wild camels were spotted in Arizona as late as 1935, and some believe they still roam the desert. A haunting and romantic legacy of Hi Jolly, whose monument still attracts thousands of visitors every year.
Former English teacher and author William Tekiu has found a way to combine his love of sports and literature to help teach students writing skills and reading comprehension. Tekiu will present some of his original sports poetry at an event called Hits, Runs, and Metaphors this Saturday at the Mesa Express Library. Here now to talk about using sports literature in the classroom is William Tekiu. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Sports literature as a tool. Give me a better explanation of what's going on here.
Well, sports literature, for example, with Bernard Malamud's The Natural. You've probably seen the film or read the novel, I'm not sure.
I've seen the film, yes.
Okay. Well, it was based on the 1952 novel by Malamud. And in my case, teaching junior English at Mountain View High School some years ago, I found that when I brought sports literature in, such as excerpts from that novel or some of my own poetry, Slugger McGuire's Ninth Inning Dream, even the most reluctant learners, and I can recall one young man who pretty much had mentally checked out of what I was trying to teach in terms of literature and writing, when he knew we were going to read a baseball poem or part of a baseball story, he was on the edge of his seat. He produced more work in not just that class period, but during the semester, because it was something he was interested in. And I saw that the same with young ladies in the class who did not have an interest in sports per se. So I think it depends on the material, the story or the poem or the novel, and if it's quality literature, the kids connect to it.
How far can you go with it? Can you diagram sentences from a poem and from a
You
story?
can.
I mean, can you get how
You can.
deeply
It's
into?
good to hear that you mentioned diagramming sentences.
Hey, I
'cause-
got an education. I paid attention a little bit, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Good.
it's one thing to say I got your attention. It's another thing to say now we're gonna, we're gonna
Right.
find out what a subquality.
Well, I mean, that's a good point you raised. So what do you do after
Yes.
you're ready to rock and roll with the lesson? And in the case of The Natural, I had students watch the excerpt where The Natural strikes out the whammer, if you recall that, and no sound. It's about a 5-minute segment. After that, say, okay, you saw this, write down what you saw.
Right.
Oh, this is easy, no problem. And the kids would write it. And then they'd volunteer to read pieces back, and we would say, wait a minute, you forgot this part. You didn't mention the color of the field and what was going on behind, and the lady in black, you completely left her out. Okay, so then those first drafts we found were often missing a lot of detail and pretty much devoid of literary techniques, alliteration, personification, metaphor, simile, and so forth. Then I'd pass out, for instance, this couple pages by Malamud on the scene, and he did not have a video to go off of to write this scene. And then we would review his writing techniques and his use of detail from the novel. Then they'd go into a second draft incorporating some of the writing techniques and literary elements that Malamud did.
Because it's sports and you're dealing with young folks, and young folks just by nature like to play, and sports is a form of play. Can this also work with other genres? Can it work with, I don't know, dance or music or something along those lines?
I think it depends on the individual teacher, but we discussed off air how statistics in sports
Yes.
can work to be helpful in terms of connecting standards in mathematics. So I think that can definitely be done. And the English Journal last fall, September issue of the English Journal, the full issue focused on using sports literature in the classroom, whether it was baseball, basketball, what have you.
And yet, I remember as a kid, don't go that far back, but you got the Jack Armstrong and your All-American boy from the previous generation, and then you got the Hardy Boys, and then you got all this kind of stuff. But then, I mean, I remember trying to read Hub Van Bid Kid Adieu. Remember that one, the
yes,
Ted Williams
it's
thing?
on the list right here.
From John up to, and I
Yes.
remember thinking, even as a kid, I was thinking, well, this is a little high and mighty here. I mean, give me some sport, give me some balls and strikes here.
Did you ever? Well, I know you're familiar with Who's on First.
Of course.
Now that's an example where when I was teaching wordplay, actually teaching parts of Romeo and Juliet with all the wordplay, we worked in the wordplay that was used by Abbott and Costello in that classic comedy skit, Who's on First. So I mean, there's various ways to connect that are not, as you said, highbrow perhaps, and Updike, fantastic writer, but like Faulkner, can a lot of the maybe high school students, even college students, would have a tough time working through some of his literature.
It's like you can't even tell they're playing golf there at the start of what was the one where they're playing golf with I forget what. Anyway,
Golf is in The Great Gatsby.
well,
but-
it's I think Sound of the. I'm afraid. Anyway, response from teachers on this. You getting folks figuring this out?
Well, I've been out of the teaching profession for 5 years. However, while I was in it, I found that teachers, once they felt like going into that new area of sports literature, had great results. I did a survey at Skyline High School in 2000, and that was of the students basically saying we can't name more than a few authors, 20th century authors that we should know for college prep and so forth, but they could sure name the sports stars of a variety of fields. And when it came to teachers in Mesa, at least, where I taught a class to teachers on sports literature, they, I want to say, ran with it, and they took some of my lesson planning back to their classrooms and reported good results.
Well,
So,
it's fascinating stuff, and it certainly makes sense. Congratulations on this, and good luck with this in the future. Good luck with your poetry as well.
well, thank you very much.
Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, hear from minority leadership on the state budget and other legislative actions, and find out about a study that looks at converting food wastes to energy. That's on the next Arizona Horizon. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.